ready for this because this is probably going to be my favorite series. Here we are in the top right in the blue, playing for Team Millennium as our Protoss. It is going to be Lilbow. And his opponent down here in the bottom right in the red, playing for Team Evil Geniuses. It is going to be none other than Jaedong. So here we have them, ladies and gentlemen. Right off the bat of things, Jaedong looks as if he's going to go for that hat-trick first. Lilbow on the other hand. Gateway first maybe? Nah, it's going to be an Nexus first coming out of Lilbow as well. So both of these guys going for the macro-oriented focus. Macro has significantly changed, I sort of feel, in Legacy of the Void. I feel as if, I mean, some of the mechanics have sort of been changed up a little bit, mainly for Protoss, with how you have Chrono Boost constantly operating on a structure, instead of having 4 charges at max energy that you can sort of drop on different buildings. So if you have a full energy Nexus, you can't... Oh! Did Jaedong see that? Or were mistakes made? I don't know. He's going to go for 3 hatch before pull though, as Lilbow goes for that Nexus into gate right up with the double gas. So far, to be honest, like, instead, it kind of feels from what we're seeing out of Lilbow in PvZ exactly what you'd see in House of the Swarm, except that you've sort of skipped the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, where you see the Protoss scouting and preparing for like some initial early pressure from the Zerg. Because it's looking very similar. You go for the Nexus, you get the gate, and then you go for the double gas. You used to go double gas for 20 supply off the back of a Nexus first like this. So it's looking just very, very closely related to what we'd see in the previous expansion. And I mean, we'll see how this plays out, but we see a Stargate, I wouldn't really be all too surprised. First alert on the way now, he's going to finish up here for Lilbow, secure that wall off. Nexus point into the natural, fairly open, but you know, you can't really do all too much, especially not with what Jaedong did. He did go for that 3H before pool, so it's going to take some time before he starts kicking into gear with any sort of pressure. Oh, see a Robo right off of the bat though from Lilbow. So perhaps Disruptor drops. We saw that earlier in the show match. Immortal drops. One thing I've seen very popular is also Adept drop. Very difficult to deal with because you have the shade and you get the additional mobility with that Warp Prism. But we'll have to see. No additional Adepts really in production right now for Lilbow. He's going to go for that Stalker so he can make sure to deal with the Overlord. Using the Shade as well as a Scout. Going to boost how quickly that Adept can continuously advance. But there's the Rotorn from Jaedong. This is for safety. Not going to go for any sort of crazy attacks, I believe. Oh yeah, so Robobay right away. Lilbow going for those Adepts again now, resuming that Adept production from the gateway. And with the Warp Prism started, it is going to be those Disruptor drops, and we'll see how much he can make happen with these. As he's going to start building that wall off very slowly at the front line. Jaedong on the other hand though, he's just happily droning away. Rotorn soon to finish here. And we even have the what's the name of that upgrade? Oh, I think that's like the only name of an upgrade that I kept like reading it so I wouldn't forget, but I keep forgetting it. I almost want to say like Graviton Catapult, but that's the one for the Interceptor upgrade. But Jaedong is going to swing in here with this Overlord. Not seeing the Warp Prism, this is going to be a big tell, especially with the Chrono here on this Roban. I mean, he's even going to see the fact that there is a Disruptor. Gets picked up right away. And Lilbow now with the full wall off. He's going to have to deal with this frontal attack that is coming very shortly from Jaedong. A couple of Ravagers together with those Roaches, as well as Lilbow is securing his third base. Jaedong only operating off of 50 drones at this point, and he just added in 32 more Zerglings. So his droning has been significantly slowed down, but he's happy on 50 drones, taking a fourth base as he goes into Lair Tech. And now Jaedong with these Ravagers, yeah, this is not going to be a fight you can take for now. You have to make sure to back. You really have to back off. One decent force field goes down, but it's not going to be enough. Only a single force field, actually. That was all that he had to work with. And here we go. The Disruptor is here, is going to use its ability and move on forward. Right on top of those Disruptors, picks up 2. Excellent move there from Lilbow. Jaedong a little slow on the... Oh my god, he's going to hit the flank! That was a bit too early. If you could have caught those Ravagers with those Disruptors, that would have been pretty damn big. But now Jaedong has added in a couple of more drones. He's up to 60 at this point. Couldn't really contest the third base going down, but equally Lilbow could not be threatening this fourth hat-trick of his opponent. And now Lilbow is going to have Blink finishing up. It's about halfway done, together with that +1 attack. And once that kicks into gear, he's going to have a very strong mobile army if he keeps those Disruptors alive in that Speed War Prism. But here we go, he's actually already started to do a little bit of damage in the main. Almost picks up a Queen. No drones have fallen just yet. So now Lilbow is very comfortable on his 3 bases. Jaedong's attack looked a little bit scary there. But, I mean, the majority of those Lings ended up getting wiped out. In conjunction with Photon Overcharge and good patience. Oh, but here we go! Massive Disruptor hits! 8 drones fall. The majority of those Ravagers go down as well, together with the Queen. So that hurt every single section of Jaedong. His economy took a hit, his macro and his army. That was an absolutely excellent attack from Lilbow, who's maintained these Disruptors in the Warp Prism, and now he's moving out. He's got the +1 attack, he's got the Blink Stalkers, adding in 3 more gateways to go with this. He's going to be operating off of a total of 7 or 8 off the back of these 3 next irons, so he's going to be in a very good position. Will he be able to stop this though? This is going to be very tough. Jaedong right now, losing so many of those units in a pretty bad spot. Here we go again. Disruptor following these Lings doesn't find too much value there, but a Blink forward will find a couple of these Mutas, which is a very nice start for this fight. Because now Jaedong can also confirm what he's going to be up against. What sort of composition he is going to be forced to be fighting. He's even got an Observer here, so he's not going to be caught off guard by any sort of weird moves with borrowed Roaches. But here we go, the Mutas swing on right in, go for that Warp Prism. They're going to get taken down. The Disruptor's actually surrounded by these drones. He cannot be using their ability. Oh, gets one. Ooh, that was a very nice hit there. As Lilbow blinks to the back of these minerals to deny as much surface area as possible. Jaedong still streaming in with units in very low numbers, and as the Stalkers, with that blink, just maintain so much mobility into... I mean, there's just not going to be any way for Jaedong to hold on here, and even though he manages to clean this up, it's been so damn cost effective here for Lilbow. He's continuously killing unit after unit. 22 drones have died in total, and he's up to 64 drones at this point in time to the 53... or 64 pros to the 53 drones of Jaedong. And it looks as if he's going to be able to clean this up eventually, but it's been so costly here for our Zerg. He's lost so many Mutas, and more Stalkers make their way on in, but there's a lot of surface area available now to these Speedlings. Time Warp has been dropped down, as you can see, guys. There's a bit of a delay. And with the Warp Prism here, I mean, the mobility of these Blink Stalkers is just going to be way too much for Jaedong. And of course, you can actually pick up units now, even though they're not directly placed under the Warp Prism. So it's really been vastly improved in comparison to Heart of the Swarm. And again, Lilbow is relentless with his aggression. He's continuously pushing on forward with Adept this time to help deal with these Zerglings. Of course, the Adepts deal extra damage versus light units. Jaedong is in a very dark place right now. He's got the 1-1 attacks, +1 attacks for Roaches and +1 attacks for those Mutas, but no Carapace. Only +1 for Lilbow, who's now started this fourth Nexus, and there's no way for Jaedong to challenge this going up as well. Lilbow is just controlling this section in Jaedong's territory with the help of this Warp Prism, and the Mutas Keep going down the very expensive units. If Jaedong wanted to go for some sort of base trade play, it's really slipped between his fingers because, I mean, he's continuously lost so many Mutalisks. And now the natural coming under heavy fire as Jaedong is going to attempt to go for that base trade. The War Prism isn't, or rather the Mothership isn't present, but there we go. He's going to go for the massive recall and the Mutas have to get out of there. Another blink forward here from Lilbow will clean up the remaining Mutalisks in the air as this fourth Nexus gets revealed there. Jaedong catches wind of that, but I mean it's not going to be enough to kill this. Even a couple of units left behind to see if they can bring down this hatchery. Not going to be enough. So Jaedong will be able to keep this alive. He's still on 4 bases, but he's down to 31 drones. And he's only making Mutas at this point in time. And the army that we see out of Lilbow is more than enough to deal with this. So I kind of want to criticize Lilbow though for not adding in like more units or +2 to just make sure to secure himself the absolute victory. But it's kind of like 90-10 at this point in time. Lilbow should not be losing this game as Jaedong's Muta count isn't all that impressive. He's not really got too many drones to work with. He hasn't got a big bank, and now Lilbow again on the warpath. This fourth base is probably going to end up falling. As Lilbow now starts splitting up his army to be able to more quickly kill off the remaining buildings of his opponent, and now making his way up here into the main base. Third is being evacuated. There's a couple of Stalkers being warped in back at home together with that photon overcharge. That's it! Jaedong realizes, nope, I cannot stick around, and that's going to be a good game for the first map here, guys. Lilbow taking that first one. Jaedong's decision there to go for that little attack, I mean, it looked promising, it felt promising. Didn't achieve all too much, and then that Disruptor drops. Ugh, they just absolutely tore him to bits. That was truly rip. Now game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be here on Dusk Towers as map 2. Those Disruptors just really hurt Jaedong way too much. And he lost all too much initiative, like losing drones, losing queens. And then of course, virtually like 60% of his standing army at that point in time. I think that Jaedong, if he'd perhaps gone into lurkers, he would have been in a much better spot. I mean, sure, he did some light pressure, but those Disruptors really hurting him. I don't agree with going into Mutalisks, because it just gives, it doesn't give you a lot of fighting power. It's sort of the same like in Holmes Swarm and in Wings of Liberty. Unless you have the critical mass, it's really difficult to take a straight up engagement like that, and just +1 Blink Stalkers with that support that they had, tough to deal with. But game number 2 is underway, and it is a best of 5, so things can go in any direction, ladies and gents. So here we go, here in the north position in the blue, playing for Team Millennium. It is going to be our Protoss player up 1 map. He's none other than Lilbow. And then down here in the southern position, playing for Team Evil Geniuses, it is our Red Zerg Jaedong. Right off the bat, Lilbow, he sends a probe across the map. He's built a pylon in the main. Are we going to see some cannons? Are we going to see gateways, perhaps? I thought the age of the proxy gate was over. But perhaps we were all mistaken. So he comes on in. Well, Jaedong knows about a very early scout. Okay, so I guess Lilbow just scouts to make sure that nothing crazy coming from his opponent, so he can safely go for the Nexus first. And there we have it. Jaedong equally going for the hat trick first. 3 hat trick football yet again here from Jaedong. As the Lilbow yet again is going to go into the double gas. Oh, Lilbow a little sloppy with the scouting there. That would have actually been a very nice piece of information to find. I think at this point in time, Jaedong will have to switch up his style a little bit. Already in that game number 1, things looked a little shaky. But nonetheless, I mean, Lilbow with a solid composition. Stalkers have been tried and tested and proven to be a very, very strong composition, of course. I mean, Lilbow, kind of a bit of the pioneer back then, Heart of the Swarm. Just going for that baguette star. 3 base mass blink stalk with a handful of sentries. So strong. So ridiculously strong. But nonetheless now, Natural has been safely taken by Lilbow. He's got the cybernetics course soon finished up and enough gas to take in any direction really. So we'll see if he is going to go for those Disruptor drops again or if he's going to head on into that Stargate tech. I mean, it really worked wonders there going into those quick Disruptors and then dropping with them. So, I mean, if he decides to do that, wouldn't be all too surprised. And yeah, it's going to be a Robo yet again. Jaedong now is going to go up to double gas. So he will be able to grab himself that speed, but that doesn't really help all too much versus the damage of those Disruptors. And of course, with that Warp Prism ability, it makes it so difficult to deal with if you don't have flying units of your own. Especially when you get that upgrade. The speed upgrade for the Warp Prism, they move so fast. And Lilbow is very smartly keeping the Overlords out of his base. He does not want Jaedong to get any information about this. So he's going to be playing a little bit in the dark right now, which is very uncomfortable as a Zug. Now starts his lair. This time going in for a little bit of a quicker lair. He's not going to be committing to a frontal assault like we saw there in that first game, because it really didn't achieve all too much, and instead he ended up throwing away a couple of units and of course delaying his drone count, guys. Still Lilbow relentlessly denying any sort of information whatsoever here for Jaedong. There's a War Prism on the way yet again. That Robo Bay also in construction together with 2 more gateways. Jaedong once more decides to go right into that Roach Warren, so he will be able to tech into those Ravagers. And then from there, I guess we'll see how things play out, because it is going to come down to the control of both of these guys here in this game, with the Disruptor drop now underway, looking mirrored virtually if we look at the proto side of things. For Jaedong though, he's switching his style up already, getting Glial Reconstitution, squeezing in that +1 melee upgrade, and now he has the faster lair, so he could go for a spy again if he wants to, and this time of course he wouldn't have had made that investment. And now with this overseas, he's going to come on in, can drop a Changeling, and he's going to be able to see exactly everything going on. He sees the Forge, a couple of gateways, and with this Robo Bay being chronoed, yeah, he should figure out, yeah, okay, so this is going to be those Disruptor drops yet again. Now, Lilbow's third base has been discovered as well, and because he's not getting pressured at the very front of things, I think Lilbow's going to be feeling very confident right now. But Jaedong, right off the bat, goes straight up into that spy attack, so he's going to do what he does, and because he didn't invest in some sort of earlier attack, he's going to have a lot more gas to work with. The War Prism is underway. He does have that speed, as you can see, moving really fast. Will Jaedong be ready? If he can kill the Disruptor before it goes off, it effectively cancels the spell. But he has to be very on top, because otherwise things can go south very quickly. That's going to be one Disruptor. Gets right on top of a couple of those roaches, takes some of them down. But the queen stands. Oh, saves one. Gets another roach. Disruptors in their own right are fairly squishy, so they can't take all too much punishment. But when you get a War Prism like this, it's sort of like you have a shuttle. It sort of remind me of Reaver drops back in Brood War. You'd have a shuttle and then drop Reaver, go for Reaver drops. Sort of very similar feeling to it. But Jaedong hasn't suffered any sort of detrimental damage just yet, like we saw. So he should be fairly happy. And now with this Spire done, he's got 11 meters on the way, together with that +1 flyer attack. Oh, he's actually going to go for it. Did he see the Spire? Does he realize that Jaedong doesn't have anything in terms of actual fighting power? Because now with all these Stalkers, because of how Lings will sort of clump up at the very front of things to work as a meat shield for those Blink Stalkers, or for those these even Stalkers without Blink, they're completely naked. It's going to be very difficult for Jaedong to engage into this, especially with the support of these Disruptors and the War Prism. I mean, it's back. No, it got taken out, so this is very key. There's no recall available right now here for Lilbow, so he's going to be all in with this attack. As the Mutas come on in and start working away here at these Stalkers, but the Disruptors clean up a lot. Oh, he actually had Blink, so yeah, this is going to be really tough for Jaedong to deal with. Drones being pulled off the lines. The Disruptors will end up falling. One has gone down at least, but the War Prism still stands. He has to deal with that, but the Blink Stalkers are just too numerous. And this should be it. Jaedong again. Very quick demise. To virtually the same composition. He got dropped again with these Disruptors, and he faces mass Blink Stalkers, and that's going to be GG. I really have to say that Lilbow playing this out really well. Jaedong's struggling to keep up pace with what the Protoss is doing. He doesn't have too much information to work with and stuff like that. Like some very good info denial from Lilbow. And Jaedong does, to be honest, I was going to say he doesn't look too happy. But that's kind of how Jaedong looks when he plays. He just looks very focused. Lilbow disappeared now, so I don't know what he's going to be doing. But nonetheless, right now, Jaedong is one game away from elimination in this losers bracket. And if he goes down, he's going to be down and out. That's it. That's finito. It's over. Fin. And that would mean that Lilbow, of course, would go up against Yasonu in a PvZ yet again. So I guess there's going to be a quick break here in the games as Lilbow did leave the player booth. And Jaedong really struggling. Once those drops start coming in, I mean, to be fair, he didn't really have any sort of information to work with. But in the first game, even when he saw them coming, that big hit in the main base, that's what sealed the deal, slowed things down way too much. And now because Jaedong was so focused on dealing with these Disruptor drops, he fell behind completely and then got caught off guard by that massive frontal attack from Lilbow that was meant to end the game, and drones being pulled and stuff like that. Just so hard to engage into. Full Zerg when you have those Disruptors. But here we have him. Lilbow is back in the booth, and Jaedong as well. He's ready. Looking very sharp, wearing some shirt. It's a sick looking jacket actually. So Lilbow right now 2 maps up, as you can see. The last one we're going to be going into is Central Protocol, where things will be decided. Is Jaedong going to be able to swing things around in this best of 5? Or will Lilbow go out 3-0 here to face off against Yasonu? That is going to be the question, ladies and gentlemen. As our players are getting ready in the lobby, so are we. So let's go, guys. Map number 3 here. in this PBZ Central Protocol. Here in the top left are Blue Protoss playing for Team Millennium. It is going to be none other than Lilbow. And his opponent in the bottom left, playing for Team Evil Geniuses. He's one game away from elimination. It is Jaedong. So mutas have not worked out here for Jaedong. Way too frail combat units. Perhaps, to be honest, I'm not even going to say anything because I have no sort of speculation on what composition you use as Zerg to deal with disruptors. Lilbow has been really putting them to good use. And now switching things up a little bit. Going for this gate expand. Jaedong. Oh wait, what? Was this a 16-16 or 14-14? So Jaedong really switching things up here. He's going to go for a fast speed. Perhaps he'll even go for that Baneling bust, which is something we've seen very common nowadays. At the very end of Heart of the Swarm, many Zergs just started pulling that out of the hat. Catches a lot of Protoss off guard. Lilbow even going up for that gas first, so I guess he's going to go Nexus into Cyber Core, and then from there go for a Mothership Core. An Adept would also be... wouldn't really be all too much of a surprise. There's the speed. The Dong has withdrawn all the guys from gas. And there we have sixlings in production. I can't really see if this is walled off or not by that gateway. It looks as if it needs another pylon. But this actually looks like a really tough map for Zerg because you have a ramp up into the natural and then like another sort of little section of ramp. It's not a ramp, it's more like a gangway between the main and the natural, and if a Protoss comes in with a Warp Prism with a couple of sentries, you can effectively start force fielding the Zerg out of his base. An Adept already on the way. And remember, you need considerable amounts of Zerglings to deal with Adepts as they start climbing in those numbers. And if you can catch this one, that would be absolutely huge. Or perhaps even just make his way up into the main base without Lilbow catching wind of this. He's gonna head out. His speed is done in about 12 seconds here. And he starts working with some of these lings with the Adept. Yeah, this is the dead Adept if I ever saw one. Now, Mothership Core is here, so there is Photonova charge, and Jaedong should kill the Adept. Goes for it. Now he can go straight up at the main. He's actually going to go for the pylon. I don't think this is the right decision, because he's actually denying a lot of surface area. He needs to go around so the probe can't set up additional pylons. Jaedong! Oh, you done goofed! Or did he, though? Can he bring these buildings down quickly enough? 10 more lings in production right now here for Jaedong. And the Mothership Core will have more energy here for those Photonova charges on the pylons when they finish up. Can drop 1, 2. One more should be used. Lilbow buying a lot of time by dropping down these additional buildings. And Jaedong, oh, I think, yeah, he really should have repositioned his lings. That was a big mistake. He was blocking a lot of his own Zerglings from getting surface area onto that one pylon. Oh, he's just really not playing to the best of his ability today. That was total rip. Jaedong really sad now. At least he's got the info about a Stargate and the Oracle coming on in. This is actually fully walled off, it seems. It's going to force another Photonova charge. And additional gateways here from Lilbow, but to be honest, I don't really know if it's going to be that good of a position, because with all of this production right now for Lilbow and Jaedong investing so much into those links, he's down by 10 drones. I think Lilbow can just go for an all-in off of the back of this Oracle. Like, he comes on in, kills a couple of drones, forces a few Spore Crawlers or something like that. Any sort of damage he can do right now to his opponent are really going to hurt him much, much more, just because of the fact that he invested so much into those early Zergling attacks. Lilbow has even secured himself top of that ramp further with the help of a couple of those sentries, so he's got force fields to drop in case Jaedong would try to follow up with a big Baneling attack. Instead, he's going to move up to 3 gas geysers. Oracle's still not finding any damage. Just going to drop a Revelation and then head back home. Already you have a Void Ray in production though. 2 more Adepts on the way. And bear in mind, Lilbow has a fairly high gateway count. Oh, whoa. 6 in total, adding a 7th. Yeah, he's preparing to go for a pretty big all-in. Because he knows that Jaedong is really slowed down. He's also seen no 3rd base. On the way right now here for Jaedong. And a couple of roaches in production, but with Void Rays supported by 7 gateways worth of production supported by Void Rays. And this one Oracle could be very, very tough. Wait. Oh! Oh! Lilbow! Oh wait, oh, the sentry! It's trapped! I guess he could break one of the gateways, but he's going to go for the pylon instead. That sentry will have to stay back at home on the defense, I guess. As Lilbow now moving out. He's got so many gateways worth of production here. A couple of Ravages being morphed right now for Jaedong. Will it be enough though? I do not know. To be honest, it's looking very dark right now for Jaedong. Equal in terms of worker count. He doesn't have the 3rd base, so his macro is going to be a lot slower than what you'd usually expect. He just doesn't have the amount of production needed for this. Spore Crawler is here. Revelation does go down. This is actually a very good use of Revelation, because it will give Jaedong the position he needs, or rather Lilbow the position he needs, but already that Ravager getting some decent damage. Good hit in the center of that clump of units, but the force fields were good here from Lilbow, and he kills the majority of the standing roaches. That is the Spore Crawler, and now he can just march up in here and end the game. So Jaedong is going to fall out of this tournament 3-0. Drones being pulled in, the last move of desperation. Oracle out of energy, but the Void Ray here offering a lot of additional help. As more units stream on in. Could even see a double time warp go down. 20 drones have fallen. Void Ray still stands. The remaining queens are going down, and this ought to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Jaedong is down and out for the count. Didn't expect this to go this way. To be honest, like, well, Lilbow really, staying really calm, really focused, knows what he wants to be doing. Now Jaedong down to 23 workers. The gold base is up, and Lilbow of course knew this, so he's going to go down and just kill this base off. But Lilbow playing well. Jaedong not as well. I guess it can be that harsh. Composition decisions weren't the best, and then he had the opportunity to get right up into Lilbow's main if he just repositioned his links, because at first you only had 5 of them hitting that pylon, and then he could have like moved a couple of them up, but he didn't. Oh, mistakes were made. And here we have the killing blow. 3 Adepts, or rather 3 Ravages this time. So I mean, the splash damage of course from that corrosive bile does hurt. Do have to split. Good dodge. There's a solid hit. Takes down a Void Ray. Hurt some of the Stalkers. But I mean, yeah, that's it. That's GG, and Lilbow will advance in the bracket, and that means he's going to face off against Yasonu now in the losers finals. And then the winner of that one will face off against Snoot in the grand finals here of the Golden Pro League 2015 International Challenge. But that was the last series, guys. That is literally going to be it, because tomorrow we will continue with the remainder of the matches. To give you guys a quick update, we will have the grand finals of the Archon Mode tournament. It will be Team Jaedong and Flash, Team Korea versus Team Yasonu and Shana. China versus Korea. Terran versus Zerg. And then we will also have Yasonu, who's going to face off against Lilbow, and then the victor of that will face Snoot in a best out of 7. So, to all of you guys who have been tuning in now for this broadcast of the GPL, thank you very much for watching. I'm Team Properties Tenshi, and I mean, it was a bit, we're broadcasting their stream because it's super hard to connect to China, but I mean, it worked out really well this time. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed this. We did see the show matches as well, etc. So there was a lot of showbiz going on, but nonetheless, the venue looks sick, and we are excited to be back for tomorrow, guys. with the remaining finals of the GPL, the first offline tournament of Legacy of the Void. I've been Team Properties Tenshi, and I'm going to be signing off.
但是据说教主好像也打了蛮多的。
对啊，他已经打到中星了。
中星，他已经韩服中星了。
据说好像是第一200多盘，
是吗？
哦，
据说是。
这
小道消息啊。
所以说这个天梯的排名啊，咦呀。
我记得第一不是真实大帝吗？
可能就在刚刚改变了吧。
教主竟然带了女朋友来上海，还不忘练习，是一个勤奋的少女。
那你有看到吗？啊，你有看到？
我没有看到啊。
那也就是说这是个谜了。
我一直在酒店里面，我们看不到而已。啊，金屋藏娇，教主的娇。
他好像到现场来是并没有带自己女朋友。
对，从来没有带过。
有，他好像是比赛结束之后，女朋友会过来找他，然后两个人一起在这边吃饭。 好像吃饭的时候是有被水友看到。
原来如此。这边可惜我们就没有机会偶遇他。否则可以找一个合影。
是我们这次黄金虚空之力的一个黄金挑战赛的话，明天应该也就是最后的决赛了。所以如果大家还要想要看的话，一定要记得过来看了，因为在后天的话，这些选手们就要各回去了。
那我们的比赛地址呢是在。
金沙江路真北路，然后你坐地铁的话，直接在金沙江路的这个站直接出来之后，可以看见我们的一个场馆。
真北路站。
真北路站。
对，近铁城市广场。
好。那这边的话，我们现在今天的比赛也是非常感谢大家的一个收看的话，现在明天再见。
明天再见。
与莎娜的组合 Snoot 与 Lilbow 赢下来今天比赛的胜利啊，他们的表现也是非常的精彩。那么明天呢，即将给大家带来的是黄金风暴联赛总决赛的挑战赛了，所以呢，明天的比赛应该是非常的精彩和夺人眼球的。希望选手们都可以全力以赴，为本次黄金国际挑战赛拉下完美的序号。那么接下来我们就一起来看一下我们明日的赛程安排究竟是怎样的呢？一起来看一下大屏幕。 好的，明天下午的3点30分 ，Flash 解冻 Snoot Lilbow 将会一同出现在上海经典城市广场，进行半个小时的签名会。如果呢你是他们的粉丝，请一定要来到现场与他们参与互动哦。随后呢将带来个人赛，败者组的决赛将会由 IE 迎战 Lilbow， 之后呢将带来执政官模式的总决赛，由解冻联手 Flash 迎战 IE 与 Shanna 的组合。最后呢黄金国际挑战赛的总决赛呢将